mean, 3 times a week. Hey y'all, so I can't say welcome back to the vlog because this ain't a vlog, girl, so welcome back to the channel. What? That's so corny, girl. And these hair bow little dummy straws. But this is a little chit chat, a little sit down, girl. We're gonna talk about 2025. So, me personally, I ain't like making it a big deal that it's the new year. You know what I mean? Cause we should be hyped that it's a new day. We made it on the wake up list, hello? But there are some things that I am excited for though. One being, and just some pineapple juice. That I am excited, and I was like, let me go ahead and talk to y'all. Let me go ahead and talk to y'all about. So we're gonna have some rearranges, some changes, some things done in the schedule, y'all. So yes, we are getting we're gonna try to implement a schedule. Mondays, I would like to, before we get into the schedule, let's get in, I'm so in disarray, you know what I mean? Before we get into some scheduling things, let's talk about what, I guess it would kind of be goals or whatever like that, but just some things that I want to do differently and be different in the new year. So, to give you all a briefing backstory and stuff like that, because I felt like I just started off on vlogs and stuff like that. Y'all like, who are you, girl?
Oh, hi. Wait a minute. Who are you?
What are you into, girl? What are we talking about, girl? My name's Ariana Rodriguez. My birthday is August 15th, 2002, which would then make me what? 22, yes. So, I have an associate's degree. I went to a JUCO. That's where I got my associate's degree. I did track and field. I did the hammer throw. I was at one point a Division I athlete and flunked out. And, well, some backstory on that, because thought I flunked.
Nene, will you stop? Let me get you something to eat. Oh my.
Flunked out. Ended up getting the final grades after I'd already been enrolled into another school. Saying, well, actually I got a call. It was like, hey girl, this was literally like maybe 2 months ago that this part happened. I quit track, what is this, 2023, June of 2023. They told me that I would have ended my semester with a 1.8, like the predicting GPA. Well, when the final grades came out, apparently I had a 2.2. Never went to go check the final grades because I'm just going based off what my advisors told me, and they were like, you should probably go ahead and try to enroll. So I was getting emails and everything saying like, girl, you about to be on academic probation, da da da, blah blah. Well, I don't even know if it was probation or if it was like suspension, academic suspension or like that, because they told me I wouldn't be able to be on campus. I wouldn't, you know, girl, whatever. So flunked out from what I knew. I got a call about a month ago saying, hey, we just wanted to see, you know, you had never enrolled in any further classes and stuff like that, and we just kind of wanted to see like what had happened. Are you interested in still coming back and finishing your degree? Da, da, da. I'm like, girl, well, y'all told me I couldn't because my grades. I go into the portal, lo and behold, 2.2. So I really could have been back. Life is gonna have its ups and downs, do whatever with that. But for the purpose of the conversation, I'm gonna say flunked out because that's what I thought the reality of the situation was. Flunked out. Was in a very toxic relationship. Completely took a break from like people for a second. Met my wonderful boyfriend now, and moved back home. I had an apartment in Arizona. Moved back home, got rid of my apartment, broke the lease and stuff like that. We can go over a whole thing on that. Matter of fact, we're gonna have some video. We're we probably gonna have some story times, girl, because I didn't think I'd ever be a story time type of girl. Well, maybe y'all just get them as I get ready type thing. Like, I'll tell y'all a story about stuff. So, that's just a backstory on me. Moved back home, and I'm originally from Virginia. Suffolk, Virginia to be exact. Thank you. Yes, I do consider myself to be Southern. Thank you. Because the South has to start somewhere. Hello. It has to start somewhere, and you know, I'm not gonna get into it all y'all about that. I consider myself to be Southern. Moved back home with my mom, which was only supposed to be for me. In my head, really, I wasn't even supposed to move back. It was supposed to be me moving into another situation. It didn't work out. So basically, just for the last year, well, we be coming up on a year in January of 2025. It'd be a year of me being back home, and girl, I've always struggled with depression, and this is one thing that I want y'all to get clear on my channel now. I do not believe depression is a feeling. If it is a diagnosis of a chemical imbalance within your brain, that's not a feeling. Now, I do believe you can have, how do I say this, depressive, well, I would say extreme feelings, whether that be like anger, sadness, so that could be in alliance with depression, but depression itself is not a feeling, in my opinion. But because that entails so much, and depression looks differently for everybody. So no, on my channel, it's not a feeling. Anywho, I always struggled with depression, so that it really was kicking my butt this past year. I started trying to I've been baptized since 2021. Yes, 2021, October of 2021, and it's on my Instagram at thearianarodriguez. Like pretty much all my stuff except for my Snapchat, my stuff is at thearianarodriguez. And this past year, struggled with a lot of depression. Was really like, I felt like for a minute, you know, God was like, I think some people say your wilderness season. I want to say that like would be similar to what I was going through. I really just like, but it started when I was in Arizona. Like, rather than like coping with the feeling that like track didn't end the way that I wanted it to, and me not ever acknowledging those feelings of that, I think those kind of manifests. I was trying to go out as much as I could, but I also was broke. I was a teacher's assistant. Girl, it was a whole lot. I ended up cutting my hair. My hair used to be in the middle of my back. I cut it all off. So now she cut it all off. Now she looked like Eve. She be dealing with things that you won't believe. Single black female addicted to retail. That's a word, girl. But yeah, and moved back home, and I was Trisha for a second. Trisha, is that her name? Trish. No, I think Trisha is Trisha Paytas, that white girl, and then Trish is the one from Austin and Alley. I was like her, the girl. If I did not like a job, well, let me make it clear. Actually, I wasn't like her. I wasn't like every other day. My friends tried to. Some of my friends tried to be funny. I had a consistent job since February. It's my job that I do now, traveling as a technical administrative assistant. And but the thing is, it's part-time and it's contractual. So I could be working. From what they told me, I thought I'd be more full-time. It didn't pan out that way, but well, let's just say I average about 6 months out of the year, but I didn't know that at the time. So not having a backup plan, and I was trying to pull myself out of debt, so I wasn't like saving and stuff like that. So it was a rough year. I think it's been, honestly, since 2022, it's been a rough like 2 years for me, if I'm being honest. Like, just I didn't adjust to Arizona well. I didn't adjust to being away from. I've always lived away from my family, but when I say always, like since being in college, I went to Iowa Central Community College. I went to Barton Community College to finish my associates because I had a toxic environment for me mentally through the coaching staff at Iowa Central. But switched over, girl, and then what? Like, I'm trying to sum it all. There was a whole lot that has happened. I have lived some life, girl. But what? This last 2 years was just like really mentally challenging for me, and rather running to God, I was running away from God. I wanted to do life as I said, not as he said. You know, I didn't have no direction. I didn't have, and like, now granted, you could see sometimes like where I was really trying or whatever like that, but like, I don't think I was, I think I was trying to do what everybody else said my relationship with God should look like, and rather than trying to really discover what my relationship with God looked like. So girl, it was just crazy, girl. It was too crazy. And then fast forward, you know what I mean? Like we here, and now things are starting to work out. God is, you know, really doing a big one in my life, and you know what? I'm not trying to play by the rules of what everybody else says my relationship with God need to look like. I'm discovering what my relationship with God looks like. Now, granted, I think just naturally having this daggone device and being on social media and stuff like that, like, sometimes I find myself feeling guilty or getting those certain anxious feelings for that, and I know that ain't nothing but the damn devil. You know what I mean? Like, girl, now granted, hold up now. Sometimes, and I truly believe this, there are a lot of times where, you know, for instance, like your feed, you mold your feed a lot of times, you know what I mean? Like, they might throw some random stuff in there, but you mold your feed and stuff like that. And I think, whether I liked it or not, I think my insecurities appeared a lot, like with my relationship with God and stuff like that. Like, those insecurities, like, will pop up through social media and me seeing certain things and people telling you need to be this way, and you need to do this, and you need to feel this, and you need to girl, this is awesome. So, fast forward, here we are. Now I am about to be living with my man, going back to school, girl, just really just like figuring out what I want to do, and you know, girl, just getting stuff done, girl. But yeah, girl, so that's who I am, girl. We could get into all the depths, like all the traumas, all the whatever, we could get in a deeper, but if I just got to give you a deep, quick summary, a quick briefing. I'm 22, I'm from Virginia, my birthday's August 15th, 2002, and I'm like, how about that? I don't know what else you would like me to say, but, well, I'm an Afro-Latino. Let me be clear on that. Yes, but I'm black. But what's it called? Yeah. So let's get into, now that you know who I am, girl, or at least a little briefing on who I am. Let's get into what this 2025 is gonna look like. So after telling y'all how I was just like stressed out, depressed, really just letting depression win, I should say. I realized after track, because I want y'all to get an understanding, like when I go down this list of stuff over that, you can be like, okay, like what? So one, I have like 4 main goals. Other things fall into these 4 categories, but the 4 top goals for my 2025 is to grow my relationship with God. But I feel like that's always number 1 on my list completely. Like I want my relationship to be ever growing, ever evolving with Him. I want to be consistent in the gym, which that's not really the goal. The goal for me is to be consistent with being physical, like physically moving and like doing, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be at the gym, just working out and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Just moving my body. I want to be consistent with that. 3, networking. And 4, disciplined over my finances. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So number 1, so how are we gonna do this, girl? Grow my relationship with God. I want to pray every day. One thing about it, and I know for some people, especially, you can get them hating ass, and you know what, I'm sorry to be cursing with that, but this is true. Them hating ass Christians who always got to tell you like what you not doing. Which, don't get me wrong, I understand judging somebody righteously and stuff like that, but like, how many times do you need to say it? You know what I mean? How many times do you, like, you don't always have to be that voice. You don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. And quite honestly, a lot of times when y'all are righteously judging, you're not moving with love first. And you're supposed to be gentle in your correction with other Christians. That's where a lot of y'all get it twisted. That's in Galatians. You might want to, while y'all sitting here.
Shanice.
Yeah?
Your mouth is moving a lot like a rat. Yappa, 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 yappa. Shut it, please. Thank you, Shanice.
Yeah, Paul said it, thank you. But hey, you know, whatever. I want to pray every day, because that's one thing I was not doing. I was not talking to God. So of course I'm not going to hear a voice that I'm not talking to. Which I've been doing adamantly, like at least like I try to, as soon as I wake up, I'm praying. Like I want to wake up into prayer. Girl, that's what I've been practicing now. Granted, I really want to get to the point where I'm like praying all throughout the day. I don't want to just be a set number, but starting off, we at least need to, because one thing I realized with me, and other people again will tell you that, oh, your relationship needs to look like this. During your walk, a huge, you know what, one way, if you want to realize how to find discernment, how to recognize discernment, I should say, not how to find it. How to recognize discernment and how to start learning the voice of God. You don't have to tune out everybody at points. And that's even going to be, you know, the people who you might view as the holiest of holy people, the, even the most like ratchetest people. Sometimes you got to tune them out. Now, granted, he'll send people, you know, to say certain things to you and stuff like that. But there are going to be moments where you don't need to hear nobody but God. And even if it don't make sense to nobody but God, in you, that's what it's going to be. You know what I mean? For me, one thing I've realized is a lot of times the reason why I couldn't be consistent in a lot of the things that I wanted to work on in life was because I wasn't making it a lifestyle change. I was almost treating it like a diet, right? A lot of people, when they go on a diet, it's supposed to be for a stint or a period of time. It's not supposed to be an entire lifestyle change. That's why you call it a diet. I now am looking at it as I am trying to overall change my lifestyle. So part of that is, for me, gradually increasing, like the snowball effect, like when they talk about with your credit and stuff like that, like I want to gradually grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. You know what I mean? So first, being intentional about it. If I don't do nothing else, prayer at the beginning of my day, and I want to end my day with it, I need to be better at that too. But for right now, I need to pray every day. 2, reading my Bible every day. I suck at reading my Bible every day. I'm gonna be honest with you. Lately I've been okay, like maybe a day here, a day there, but that's not good enough. In order for you to understand who he is, you need to read his word. And I understand the skepticism. I'm not, because other people want to sit up there and act like you ain't supposed to acknowledge the skepticism in that, when you know that there are missing books in the Bible. We're not even talking about pages, books in the Bible that we currently read today. The version that we are reading today is not the most accurate version of the Bible that there is ever have to existed. But in that, I do believe when you grow your relationship with God, when you are relational and not like religious with your relationship with God, there are things that he will reveal to you, I believe, that will be in alignment with the original version of how the Bible should have been, or how it is. Again, y'all gon' whatever. But anywho, those are 2 things that I really want to be intentional, because I believe everything else will fall into place. If those 2 of my foundational pieces are there, I believe every brick can grow up from there. You know what I mean? But if I don't even have those, if bare minimum, I don't have my foundation, nothing else can grow from there. You know what I mean? Now 2, consistency with, I should say, my physical activity. That's what I meant to say. This last year, like a little over a year, because if I quit last June, it's now December, so like what, a year and a half or so. I completely stopped all activity after that, because I felt so, I didn't have a good relationship with eating. I didn't have a good relationship with working out. I had such an unhealthy obsession to an extent with what I ate, how I worked out, what I worked out. Like I had this unhealthy viewpoint. Like for instance, like the feeling that I should always be sore when I left the gym. Just because you are not like, I agree there should be, like, I'm still on learning and trying to figure out what that looks like, but I do believe like you should feel like you got a good workout in, but that doesn't mean you have to like be exhausted when you leave the gym. That doesn't have to be a thing. That doesn't mean that your quality of workout wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like there were times like where, and again, I can't speak to other athletes. But I can speak to throwers. You become a part-time power lifter. I don't care what nobody tells you. A lot of throwers, and there are a lot of throwers who switch their career paths from throwing to powerlifting because you become a part-time one. Now with that, what people don't acknowledge and stuff like that is like, depending on whose workout you're on, whose regimen you're on and stuff like that, you could be maxing out or getting close to, like, let's just say 80%. You could be doing 80% every week in a different lift. You know what I mean? And depending on what you got going on outside of that, because I don't think people understand, while yes, lifting is physical, there's a lot of mental in that. And if you are mentally exhausted before you even get to a lift, being able to do what your 80% would be on a day where you are mentally and you are ready to be there, your body is good, you're not going to be able to, you may not, I'm not going to say you're not going to be able to, but you may not be able to hit that. And especially if you're not getting your proper rest, your recovery sucks. Like, which I know a lot of athletes as a whole, your recovery sucks. We're not just talking about, oh, I did my massage gun. Are you truly resting? Are you truly getting the stages of rest that you need to get to keep up with the amount of activity that you're doing? And especially as a collegiate athlete, I think a lot of people don't understand, depending on if you're on scholarship, if you're not, let's just say on average, there are a lot of collegiate athletes who can't even afford to take care of their body the way that it probably should. And one thing that I wish some people understood, because this is coming from a JUCO product too, I was so astonished when I came to Grand Canyon University and I saw the weight room and I saw how nice it looked. I said, oh my God, this is something different. Now, granted, Iowa Central, they had a really nice weight room and stuff like that. I mean, it was like they converted like a garage situation into there, but like one of those like big garages, like, you know, like where the 18-wheelers be going in. But when you look at being able to upkeep your diet, being able to upkeep your recovery, being able, like, I don't think people realize how much outside of just the sport itself and what you do when you're there, it requires of you to be there. Like, cause people just be like, oh, eat a salad. Baby, you gotta, like, honestly, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, you probably do have to count those macros and really, like, be intentional about what you're eating and putting into your body, especially during certain times. Like, as I can't speak to every sport and stuff like that, but I know in track and field, this part is pretty similar from what I've seen and, like, talking to other coaches and stuff like that, regardless of the event that you do. There, like, for instance, your weight room, there's certain weeks where they want you to hit certain numbers and peak on certain things so that you can perform a certain way at a meet. Versus other people where I feel like, or other sports where overall they want you to have an overall, like, you know, like strength or whatever about you, especially in track and field, like, it can really, I can see how regardless of like what event you do, it can produce a lot of eating disorders, because when you're always in you're never, like, I'm not gonna say never, but a lot of times, unless you're in your out of season training and stuff like that, which is really never, depending on, like, if you go back home and you go train and stuff like that, you are constantly in a pit or a peak. Like, you are constantly, your weight room is looking from, like, you need to hit these numbers, you need to do this, you need, like, so there, especially if you're like a professional one, because I have friends who are professional athletes and stuff like that, like, there are certain weeks where they need you to, like, be able to hit certain numbers. Now, for some people, their body is differently and stuff like that, like, to where they might, if they're known to pull and stuff like that, sometimes they need to be exhausted in the weight room before, so that they're not, like, I can only speak to, like, throwers in this instance, like, specifically hammer throwers, or even, like, discus throwers. I would just say throwers. Like, there are some throwers who, in the weight room before a meet, a big meet, they need to be almost tired out so that their body can naturally depend on, like, I'm saying it's like I'm going through like 5 different thoughts, but let's just talk about a hammer throw right now. It's easier to do it this way. In the hammer throw sweat, you want to be pretty, like, because this can be finesse depending on how you throw and sweat. But like, if we're talking about like basic, like you're just starting out sweat, you don't want to pull, right? But honestly, there are always exceptions to these rules, because there are some people who can rip something and it works for them, right? Whatever. But as a whole, we're just saying a general consensus. There's no you don't want to necessarily pull. You kind of want to let your arms at least not be the pulling factor. Your arms shouldn't be the pull per se. So for some people, and I've seen it, like they've had to lift extremely heavy right before a meet so that their arms were so tired that like they couldn't pull as hard as they normally would on a hammer to allow it to go further and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to give an example for some people when they're like, well, that doesn't make sense, blah, blah. Or some people need to lift light so that they can get around the circle quicker and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It depends on your coach and all that stuff, but just saying, I had an unhealthy way of thinking when it came to the gym and stuff like that, because it was always pits and peaks, like, there was never like we're just trying to maintain. You know what I mean? Like, at least in my experience and the coaches that I dealt with, especially because there were a lot of times where I was trying to compete all year round, whether it's in summer, whatever, blah, blah, whatever. So, always being at this point to where it's like, I am mentally exhausted and I know I can't move this weight, but I'm being forced to have to try to. That's how I had a common problem for me. I can't speak to other people, but I always had a pinched nerve situation, like in my hip, or hip back, like the back of my hip sort of situation. But to where there were times where I couldn't even damn near walk. You know what I mean? But because of me having this pinched nerve thing going on, because when you're lifting, a lot of times, and this is another thing, if I have any high schoolers who do sports and who do athletics and stuff like that, and you're not in a state, because this is such a common misconception that people think. Everybody think that when you get to college, you know how to lift. Everybody don't know how to lift when you get to college. And a lot of coaches are at that point where they're not going to teach you either. You know what I mean? Because they're assuming you already know how to do these things, like clean snatches, RDLs. Even when people be doing deadlifts, there is a specific form you need for that. Hip thrusts, every lift you do, there is a specific form because it's supposed to target a certain muscle, but also so that you're not injuring yourself. Because while that first time you did it wrong may not injure you, over time it can injure you. For instance, me, when I did cleans, girl, I rarely ever really incorporated my legs, if I'm being honest. It was usually just my arms, and then if I could catch it, which even then I never caught it up here. That's a whole other thing. I never had the mobility to get it up here. So I was always catching it like this. And then once I had was able to flip it to get it right there, I was pretty much just doing a front squat. If I'm being honest with you. That's literally what was happening. But I say this to say, if you're in high school and you have the opportunity to go lift, or you have the opportunity to you have any gyms or recreation places around you, stuff like that, I know you might want to lift heavy already. I know you might want to be like, I got da-da-da-da-da-da. Start, honestly, some of y'all might have to start with the PVC pipe. Y'all might have to, and work it out, especially with your bench presses. Whole other thing, I was going like this with my bench press. Supposed to be like that. I was over here like this, almost broke my wrist. Didn't know, you know what I mean? But I just had such an unhealthy way of thinking in the gym. I had this thought process. It didn't matter how I got the weight up. It didn't matter how I needed to get it up. If that meant injuring myself in the process to get it up, I didn't care. I didn't care how. I just knew I needed to, because people always told me I didn't lift heavy enough. Well, the reason why you're not lifting heavy enough is because you're not actually doing the lift. Because you don't have the actual proper form. If you knew the proper form, you could be lifting way more than you are. Didn't understand that at the time, you know what I mean? But this last 2 years, I say also say, that was a whole big rant spiel, I had such an unhealthy way of looking at the gym, and I would always be like, I don't feel like going to the gym, not because I don't feel like working out, because I was like, I don't feel like pushing myself to the point of exhaustion today. I am already exhausted. I already feel like I cannot get out of bed. I already feel like I am so exhausted. When some people tell you they can't get out of bed, and you're saying oh, it's just a mental thing, get up. I don't think people understand when your mind is especially how powerful the mind is. When your mind is telling your body, I am exhausted, your body will start to genuinely feel like it's exhausted. It will start to feel like it is the hardest task physically to get up, not even just mentally. There was times where I felt like I was about to collapse to go walk my dog. You know what I mean? Because this was right after I had moved back. I'd only stopped really lifting maybe 3 months before that. You know what I mean? And so I completely stopped going to the gym altogether. But with that, my diet had already sucked, because when I was an athlete, I wasn't one of those people who was intentional and trying to be okay, let's eat good foods and stuff. I was one of those people who genuinely this is where, some of y'all got to be careful if you have this Ocho Cinco mindset, because I agreed with him to the fullest extent, if I'm being honest. Like, where he was like, it doesn't matter what you eat as long as you work out hard enough. You know what I mean? Or, you know, and some things are genetic. And for me, again, a genetic thing for me, regardless of the trash that I'm putting in my body, it never required a hell of a lot for me to look a certain way. As soon as I started working out, now granted, I can gain weight quick. Well, it takes me a little bit, I'm not gonna say I can gain weight quick. It doesn't look like how it looks on other people, but yes, I can gain weight very quickly, but I also can lose weight pretty quickly, like after a certain point. But once I hit like 200, that's where it becomes like extremely hard for me to lose more after that, which, let me make it clear what 200 looks like on me, so y'all can get an understanding. Because some people have such a warped idea of what, how weight can look differently on other people. When people tell you weight looks different on other people, they mean it. It's not like a, oh, you know, it's not always this like body positive hype up movement. I was 200 on the dot because I could not break that number. This was the skinniest I had ever been like in my adult years as of right now. Let me bring the brightness down. That was me. And I had now for me to meet the maintenance of that was so hard. Let me make it clear. For me to get down to, it's not hard for me to lose weight, like to get to 200 pounds. The maintenance of 200 pounds was like, hell no. Hell no. But I was eating like trash. Like, I went through a point where I would only eat as much as we're on, as much could fit, maybe a little bigger than this plate, like about that. I would only eat that much to see like, and nothing could fall off the plate, nothing to, like, it had to all be able to fit properly on this plate. So if it couldn't fit there, I would eat that much. And I would eat that maybe 3 times a day. I would eat that much, but it wasn't like I was filling it with like great things. No, girl. Then after a certain point, I was just like, I want to eat. I love snacking. I was never like a hungry, like, and I didn't have stuff to necessarily cook with when I was at school, so I was snacking. So I would my meal all day would be like an oatmeal cream pie and Taco Bell. That's what I was, you know, that's the stuff I was doing at the time, and it just wasn't great. So when that was another thing, I talked to nutritionists and stuff like that. I had problems with binging and purging. Didn't understand what none of that was. And again, like, a lot of fat people assume, you know what I mean, like, or bigger people assume that overeating by any means could be associated with any disorder, because a lot of people don't talk about it. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't talk about, like, being fat itself is not the problem. I think that's where some people, like, who are really fat phobic don't understand. Being fat is not the problem, and a lot of people may not have gotten fat by, oh, we just sitting here, just rubbing on everything that we see. So that's not, it's some bullshit. You know what I mean? But I can only speak to me. I had issues with binging and purging. I stopped doing like the little places of that and started being like, okay, I'm gonna wait until like the end of the day and stuff like that, and especially because I was smoking, so I would wait till I could smoke real bad, and I'd eat everything in fucking sight, like everything, and then like constantly, like, then I would be constantly on the cardio, constantly like lifting stuff like that. Like it just wasn't great. And so already walking out of that terrible mentality that I had, then going into already walking in with that terrible mentality that I had, and then going into the ending of track for me, to then be a regular person and stuff like that. Like, I already had terrible habits in eating, and I was an emotional eater too, so I stopped purging, but I still struggle with binging, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't mind how I look now and stuff like that. I know I want to preface this because I'm very big on like loving the skin that you're in and stuff like that. And some people don't agree with that. Some people agree with body neutrality. Girl, you're never gonna please nobody. But I do believe that you should have maybe not a love for where you're at, but you should always feel comfortable in the skin that you're in. And for some people that might be bigger, some people that might be smaller. For me, I'm not uncomfortable with being heavier, but I am uncomfortable with how the heaviness looks. For me personally, and I know for some that might not be good and stuff, but like I hated like these stretch marks and stuff that you see and stuff like that. I hated that. Like I hated like that my arm has, you know, that bit of like jiggle there and stuff like that. I hated that, like how I started to look at my hands and stuff like that, and like I don't know, depending on what angle you see and stuff like that, but like my wrist started to look real like fat, and I just, you know, for me, I'm not comfortable in my skin no more, you know what I mean? And I'm 272 pounds now, and I want to get back down to like maybe like 225. I feel like is good for me. Like that's where I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable. 215 to like, I feel like 225. I'm not, 225 is like, okay, like this is like the max that I would like be. 215, I feel like I'm cool. Like if I want to feel like a like slimmer, 215, 225. If I'm like, you know, I'm feeling thick, you know what I mean? Cool. But for me, it's not my favorite right now. And I think another thing for me is, I honestly, the arm things is all that's whatever, but the boobs. When you gain weight, I don't know about other people, the boobs in the face are the thing that I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand every time I talk. It's like, I don't mind having a double chin over that, but it was like, it has felt like when I'm laying down stuff like that, I'm talking, girl, it's like gobble gobble. You know what I mean? That thing is hanging. Can't stand that. You know what I mean? Like I don't like that. And my boobs have gotten like really big and stuff like that, and they be hurting my back. That like hurt my back. And then I can feel also, for me, and I don't know about other people, like my mom's been like genetically tested and stuff like that, like, but a lot of, at least in my legs and stuff like that, like a lot of the weight there isn't, a lot of it is muscle, and muscle is heavier than fat, and you feel it, girl. You feel that. So with these tatas, plus the extra weight in my gut that I got, like I don't like how my gut kind of protrudes now, you know what I mean? Like before it was just like, okay, I got a little cute fupa, and like now it's kind of like, okay, we starting to look like we in that first trimester. Ooh, no girl. That's not how I want to look. That's just not for me. There ain't nothing wrong. I don't judge nobody who wants to look like that, because on some people I think you look a whole lot better thick. You might want to stay there. That skinny thing ain't for everybody, and I don't want to be skinny. I just want to be a little bit smaller. I wouldn't mind being a 1X. I'm gonna be honest with you, 1X, not bad. I like the way I looked at 1X. What I showed y'all was about a 12. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna see if I can find one of my TikToks. I know you. Wait, no, it's until you came along. Let me see if I can scroll all the way up. I know. Hey, girl. Girl, come on, load these TikToks up. Stop trying to play with me right now. I'm not in the mood. Another thing is like, and I feel like a lot of people try to explain this to folks, but everybody just want to sit there and be like, oh, lose weight, da-da-da. But like, when you're also, oh, actually I sent a picture to my boyfriend the other day of what I look like at 1X. Okay, let me see if I can find it now. Gotta make sure this boy don't text me, because one thing about it, he gonna text me in the midst of me trying to talk to y'all. My man. Y'all can't be in our conversations. Let me see. That's what I was like at like a 1X, like 2X occasionally, like like that. I genuinely don't mind being at that size. Like I don't mind. That's the thing for me. I don't mind it, but I hate also the more weight that you gain. I don't know about other people, but for me, they talk about it all the time how the fashion industry has started removing plus size sections and stuff like that. But like, I know there are a lot of people who cannot control the weight of which they're at, and so that option should always be offered. But for me, I know that I can control where, like, to an extent. Once like I said, honestly, 210 is like, 200 is the extreme of pushing it for me to where it's too hard to maintain that for me. But the smallest that I would ever want to be at this point in my life is maybe 210, and that's like, there has to be like a special, like, I don't even know why I want to be that. Like, I'm just saying, like, if I had like an absolute, it'd probably be, honestly, like I said, 215 is for me. But, and that's because of how it looks on me. And I like the way that is shaped and looks and whatever, blah, 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 blah. But, what was I saying, girl? I just want this next year to be just more consistent, like with my physical activity. I want to be intentional about getting 10,000 steps today. Really, I want to start trying to hit that 15 mark of 15,000 steps a day. You know what I mean? I do want to be lifting 3 times a week, though. I do want to get into that point where I'm like, you know, at least 3 times out that week, I am lifting, you know what I mean? I am, because I still want to build that muscle, maintain that muscle, but like, I want to be an overall more physically active person. I'm gonna be taking up surfing. I want to be, I want to go on more hikes. I just want to be an overall more moving person. I feel like the problem, yes, I didn't like certain ways that my body looked right now, but I also didn't like how I felt because I was such a stagnant person. The weight was a problem, but it was the lifestyle that was aligning with that weight. Because there are plenty of people who are over 200, and I want that to be clear. There are plenty of people who are over 200 pounds, who are almost 300 or over 300, who move, you know what I mean? And they move around, you know what I mean? And they do stuff. I was like, I don't think it would bother me as much being at this weight if I was moving and I was active and I was doing things and I didn't feel like exhausted every time I walked up 5 stairs, you know what I mean? Like, that's another thing that both of us, like me and my boyfriend, both love, is our place has stairs. Not because it's like, oh, we're gonna be walking upstairs all the time, stuff like that, but I'm actively walking upstairs, you know what I mean? Because like I'm actively like moving my body and stuff like that to like help that cardio intake and stuff like that for me. Like, and it's not about losing. This year, I want it to be clear, I am not looking for a goal weight. In my head, am I saying a weight? That's just so I can tell y'all a description of, because I know if I just say the weight numbers, y'all are gonna be like, well, what does that look like? I just would like my body to look like that. So if it ended up being like, oh, I'm still this weight, but it just looks differently because it's composition differently, cool. You know what I mean? I just like the way that looked on me. That was just last year. The other picture I sent y'all, that was literally just around the same time last year. So I want to lift at least 3 times a day. I mean, 3 times a week. And I want to do like a walk at the end of every night or at the beginning of the day, like a 30-minute walk too. But I think I'm going to change like the 30-minute walking thing to 10,000 steps a day, or 13 to 15,000 steps a day, just getting my overall physical activity up. I just want to be that person who is active. Like, I've always been a really slow walker, for instance. Like, I'm not looking to be a fast walker or something, but like I don't want to feel like it's taking me a million hours to get somewhere, you know what I mean? Now also that could be because like I don't have the longest long legs. But anywho, 3. I spent too much time on 2. 3. Networking. I am such an introvert, but I feel like a lot of introverts allow that to make them antisocial. Those 2 things do not mean the same thing, people. My recharge time is when I'm alone, or when like I'm like just, you know, in my own space. I don't want to be afraid of interactions with other people. And I think I started getting to that point this last, like after I flunked out of college, I think there was a stint of time to where I was really embarrassed by that and was really afraid to say that out loud, that I had flunked. And now we know I did not, but I've experienced what that feeling feels like, to feel embarrassed about that and feel like, oh my God, like I effed up everything, blah, blah. And so I think I ran away from even meeting people or wanting to have people know me or know my background, because I was like, now I have this ugly mark on there. Now, and that stemmed from insecurity. Like when I was in high school, a lot of people assumed I was dumb because of the fact that I got bad grades. If you're looking on pen and paper, I was getting bad grades, but I also had a lot of traumatic stuff going on at home that I wasn't really telling anybody because I was embarrassed about the traumatic stuff. And like, so coming to school wasn't a priority to me, if I'm being honest. It wasn't even like, girl, I wasn't even on a list of things that I cared about. I cared about seeing my friends, but I didn't care about like the school educational work itself. I didn't. Now granted, I want to be clear, my parents always did preach it to me though, the importance of it. but I didn't value it. You can't force somebody to value something just because you say they should, you know? So, and I think because of that, it really drew me away from and being fearful of social interactions with people, because I was like, I don't want them to know me. I don't want them to know that, and I don't want them to think that I'm dumb. I don't want them to think that because I flunked, that's automatically associated with me being dumb or me being lazy. When people talk about their mental health and stuff like that, and that's one thing I want to become very big on, like just in general, is mental health advocacy. Like, people have no idea. When they say it, people always just make it seem like it's like it's either an extreme or overly minimizing of it that I just can't get with. We don't always have to talk in extremes for you to understand that it can impact your day to day. And I think the world is getting better at it, but I think it could also be a lot better. I think we understand that it's a problem, but I think in how we act on it and how we support each other on it, I think could be 10 times better. Now we have an awareness of it. I think it's one of those things, like, we have an awareness of it. Okay, so now let's start implementing things to help people. You know what I mean? Let's start implementing things to support people. So I was really fearful to start interacting with people, and I was embarrassed. So especially when I came home, because a lot of people started to have an assumption of me, like, oh, I had started doing a lot better in life because out of a lot of people that I knew back home, had left home. And not just like, oh, we visited somewhere, but like I had left and lived other places, you know what I mean? Like in states away, across the country away, you know what I mean? And I felt now embarrassed and ashamed, like, to say, like, almost dragging my tail behind me, like, how did I F it up? How did I F up this opportunity and these opportunities, da-da-da-da. So this year I want to be intentional about networking. I want to try to do at least one outing. I said a week, but I think that was just because I was like super hype on this or whatever. I think maybe every 2 weeks I want to be able to say that I like went to some outing or event or something to where I met people. These could go anywhere from a poetry night to a Bible study to a convention to speaking events to just overall different things, you know what I mean? I want to get out there and I want to meet people. I want to talk to people. I want to network. I want to build a community, you know what I mean? Like, because I have big plans and big dreams, and in order to achieve those things, I believe that you need a good team behind you. So while I have what some would consider nothing, you know what I mean? But I feel full in what I have. I feel full in my spirit. I feel like I have everything that I need. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have dreams and wish and desire more, but my necessities are met. I have the people that I need. I have whatever. But in order for me to get to certain levels, so I know I need to start configuring a team. You know what I mean? And start, like, it may not be my team yet, but I feel like over time as certain things align, so that you'll start to notice. Fourth on my list is I want to be disciplined in my finances. A lot of people, especially in their early 20s, I'm not gonna say my generation, because I feel like every generation has had this at some point, or like that, but especially in your early 20s, or 20s in general, I'm not gonna say just early 20s, I think there can be a lack of discipline in finances, especially if you weren't raised around how to deal with money, or at least in a healthy way. I feel like you're always told either extremes: save everything you have, or spend everything that you have. You know what I mean? It's always like there's never like this middle ground to where it's like you should still enjoy life, but you don't need to go out every weekend. You might want to put certain things away. You might want to do certain things. So really, that I'm talking about more being a steward over my finances, especially after the after track ended, and then I'm just saying this because I'm trying to think, like, where did the thing start? It started before that as far as my mental health stuff goes, but just like extreme life events. There was a stint in time to where I was like couch hopping and stuff like that, and then my mom got me an Airbnb or whatever like that until I got my apartment and stuff. I got put out from my ex and everything. It just was like a whole bunch of nonsense. I wouldn't even consider that to be like a real ex of mine, because it wasn't even 6 months, you know what I mean? But that short period of time definitely did impact a lot. So we can get into this a whole other time, girl. But I want to be a steward of my finances now. I felt like there was a point to where I got my finances together and stuff like that, and I I was so eager to prove. I thought, like, looking back, some people think you're trying to prove it to the world and to Snapchat and to social media and all these different things. I said Snapchat, Instagram, whatever, girl. Just social media, that you got it all together. I'm gonna be honest with you, and this can be, I know some people who might think this and other people may not. Because I had been, like, done so wrong by my ex, like, I didn't even realize unintentionally, like, I was trying to prove it to him that I can not only live without you, but I can be 10 times better than you. I can be this. I can have my stuff together. I can have this, like all these physical things, stuff like that you don't have. I can be that. Like, because in my specific situation, I can't speak to other people's. He took care of everything when I was with him. He paid for everything. He did everything. And I was so driven to just prove to him that I didn't need him. Not only did I not need him, but I could be better than him. And now, granted, I showed the stuff off on social media because I was looking for him to see it. I didn't even care about all the other people who saw it over that. But I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. I maxed out 2 credit cards. I had I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was DoorDash almost every night on top of my regular job, plus going to school. It was a lot. Not realizing at the time, I was so fueled to prove that I had it all together, and not only did I have it to put together, but I had it better than him. Girl, grow up. I'm sorry if y'all. That's how I would talk to myself. Now, granted, I might look at it differently, but I say this to say, because some of y'all will post on social media, right? You guys are going out outfit. Let's not be funny, girl. Let's not act like we won't know, girl. You going out with your friends. You've been, mind you, ain't nobody really seen you in a minute. You know what I mean? You popping out. You got the hair done, nails done, everything big. All that's great. Don't get it twisted. All that is great. But as soon as you post it, you keep sliding up because you waiting for that one person to see. You don't even care. 150,000 people could be looking. You waiting for that one name. Every 5 minutes, y'all on the way there. They like, shot. You like, yeah, girl, shot. Yeah. You doing the most, girl. Listen, and if we're gonna be honest, some of y'all is like that with y'all relationship with God and y'all religion. And I was that person too. I was trying to prove to people like look, I am trying to change my life around. I can be better. I was trying so hard. Like, there was times where I would post like, you know, like, this is my Bible layout, and I'm like, girl, go lay. Like, that's another reason why I don't think I'm gonna make it. Like, I'm gonna do touch points with my relationship with God and my and different things on social media, because I talked about it up there. I do want to start speaking publicly about my relationship with God, because I don't want it to be hidden. That's something I don't want. I don't want y'all thinking now it's a secret. But am I gonna make that? Is that gonna be the only thing that y'all know about me? No. Are y'all gonna know that I'm a work in progress? Like, I know some people, and this is just an example. This is one person. Like, I'm not saying I want to be like them. I'm just saying an example of like where I'm at is like, I want y'all to understand. Actually, 3 people. Megan Ashley, and I know she's like super, like, now that's like majority of what you've seen, stuff like that, of her stuff. But there was a point to where like, and even then she still posts about her being a mother and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But she's a little bit more, a little further than what I am, right? No, not a little. She's a lot further than what I am. But I'm just saying, like, as far as like how I want to present myself on social media, a little differently from how I want to. But I'm just saying, like, at one point she had no problem, like, you know, talking about her life and what life looks like, stuff like that, you know. I don't want that to be my, maybe she's not the best example now, but if you watched her back when they had the No For Sure podcast of that, and like how much they grew and everything like that, like, that is an example. B. Simone is somebody who I think is more closely to what I'm trying to explain to y'all, like, where it's like, whether you agree with how she does things or not, you acknowledge that she is a believer in Christ. You can't deny that she loves Jesus. You can say, you might be skeptical of how she goes about it or whatever like that, but you know that of her. You know that she has a podcast that's centered around growth and, like, especially spiritually and stuff like that. And she talks about her relationship with God as much as she talks about anything else in her life. You know what I mean? And I'll say, like, a third person is Crystal Renee Hazlett. Like, I feel like she also has done a really good job. Like, now granted, like, you know, now she seems a little bit more like, you know, I wouldn't imagine her turning up in the club no more or nothing like that. But like, there's also time, like, you can pull up videos of her like dancing to secular music or whatever like that, or just having a good time with her friends and stuff like that, or enjoying a glass of wine, you know what I mean? Because she may not be getting drunk stuff, but I'm just saying, like, living. And I think some people will take this out of context and run with it and stuff like that, but like, yes, this might be the biggest portion of your life, but that doesn't mean you have nothing else in your life to talk about, you know what I mean, in your life. And I'm not negating God's significance in your life. All I'm saying is I know that you, on a day-to-day, I know there are other things you do. For instance, I just picked up this pineapple juice. There are other things that you're doing out there, you know what I mean? And I want that to kind of be how my platform, like how y'all see me. I want there to be a knowing of, oh, don't get it twisted though, she's a Christian, she believes in God. But she's also growing, and she also likes to cook, and she also wants to be a mom one day, and she wants to be a wife, and like, I want these things to also be acknowledged in my life as well, you know what I mean? Like, now granted, I believe all the things that I want to do and all that I am is only through Christ alone. But, you know, I just feel like sometimes, like, people almost make Christianity feel cult-like. Like, whereas if you're not human, as if you're not, like, as if you have no F-ups, no mess-ups, no whatever. Like, girl, please. 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 But, I still say those are my 4 goals of the year. Those are some ways that I want to implement it. Oh, now we can get into the schedule. Here's what I'm thinking the content weekly will look like. So, Mondays, a YouTube video will drop. I was saying weekly vlogs, but this is why I came up with this video, because I feel like there are some times where I just kind of want to sit and talk, and I don't want it to necessarily, I don't want to hold my camera everywhere. More than not, I'll say it'll be a vlog, but you might peep another video in there. We can figure out the YouTube schedule stuff later, but just for an overview, that's what I'm thinking. Mondays, we have a lift, which will be posted on Shorts. If TikTok don't go, which I really don't think it is, but if it does, then Shorts, IG, and I'm thinking Snapchat. TikTok, if it still stays, it's gonna be on there. Those are the 4 platforms that like, I'm gonna just throughout the week, those are the 4. Now that you have the assumption that those are the 4 that videos will be posted on, I'm only just, from here on out, I'm just gonna signify if it's a YouTube video, which will only be on Mondays. Mondays will be a video from YouTube. The rest of the week, we're gonna post lifts on those 4 platforms. OTD or Get Ready With Me. It might be both. When I say the OOTD, there's also gonna be 2 separate, so, sorry, I was scribbling when I wrote this. Lifts, vlog, this is Monday. Lifts, vlog, OOTD, like our regular OOTD, and then a workout OOTD, like our, what are we gonna wear to the gym or whatever. Those are the 4. Now you might get 2 extra Get Ready With Me's in there. Get ready for the gym and get ready for the day, like for me to go to work. So you might get 7 videos on that day. I don't know if I threw the YouTube in there, so you might get 6 or 7 videos that day. But for a fact, 4 videos, I think it is. Lifts, OOTD, lifts, work OOTD, gym OOTD. So you'll definitely get 3. There's a hot girl walk in here, like at the end of the day. We're gonna see about her. I'm thinking she's gonna be in there, but I don't always know what that's gonna look like. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's gonna be like, you know, girl. I don't know. So we can count on 3 videos, I think. 3 videos. That on those platforms. Tuesday, Bible study debrief. This is gonna hold me accountable, because if I'm saying I want to grow my relationship with God and stuff like that, or for me to be able to post a video of what I receive. Now, this is not to say no other videos to get thrown in there on these mix, but I do want y'all to be able to count on something. Scary for me, but yes. Bible study on Tuesdays. Bible study debrief, like what chapters I'm in, or what books I'm in, what I feel like I've taken away and what I'm learning and stuff like that. Yes. An OOTD for work. If I'm considering Pilates, considering her, don't know yet. It might be another gym vlog. I might be going to the gym 5 times a week because it doesn't always have to be lifting that I'm doing when I go there. So we might change that Pilates one into just a gym vlog. So we might be going 5 times a week to the gym, girl. Period. And hot girl walk. Hot girl walk, I kind of want to be every day, like, maybe like a different trail I took, or well, actually, I kind of don't want to post it on social media, to be honest with you. I don't really want to tell y'all the location where I'm going. Maybe what I'm thinking, what happened that day, what, like, you know, just chit chatting with y'all a little bit, so y'all can get a little chit chat throughout the week. So we're gonna do a hot girl walk every day. Wednesday is the same thing as Monday, except the YouTube. Thursday, same thing, except the YouTube. And Fridays is same thing as Mondays and Wednesdays, except for the YouTube video. But I think throughout the week too, there also is going to be sprinkled in like a cooking video here, because I do love to cook. I want it to be like a random, like, this is just going to be like the bones of what we got. This ain't the meat, you know what I mean? But I do want y'all to be able to expect something from me. So lifting, OOTDs, and hot girl walk is Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Bible study debrief, OOTD, potentially a gym content type video, and hot girl walk. Those is the bones. Now there's going to be cooking. There's going to be, because we're moving into an apartment, there's going to be like getting everything arranged in the apartment and stuff like that, and like just like, you know, all the things, you know what I mean? Random videos that like of like experiences that I'm having at that time, like whether it's like we trying a new food place, we going to different places, da 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 blah blah da 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 da. Just that type of stuff, girl. But I do want to have it to where y'all already know, like, where's our videos? Because you said we would have these videos, girl. You know what I mean? Like, I want to get to that point to where I'm being consistent and reliable in those areas. So yeah, girl. That is, I know this video is kind of a little like long, girl, but just who am I? Y'all get to know me, what these goals is looking like for 2025, and what's the content schedule for 2025. I love y'all. And I'm gonna see y'all on the next one, girl. TTYL XOX, girl. Cheers.